I think we're good to get started. So I'll kick it off really quick. I know you guys are used to seeing George and Josh on these. Josh is in Cabo, so he's going to enjoy a vacation. And George is in Ohio, I think. So we're switching things up today. I asked Cherie if she would jump in today, and she very kindly said yes. So we're thinking this is going to be more so a kind of mastermind and dialogue. We do have some stats from SDAR that we can pull up, but this is going to be more so a mastermind, kind of asking everyone else, what are you guys seeing and experiencing out there? Because sounds like things are shifting around a little bit, and very quickly at that. So we want to be on our toes. Something else I wanted to mention really quick is we do have that Win the Deal Slack channel. So that is a great place to go. If you have questions on getting offers accepted, what are some trends that you're seeing? What are you writing into your offers? What didn't work for you maybe? So just wanted to remind you guys of that Slack channel that came up on a meeting, an ops meeting this morning. And that's just a great resource for you. So
yeah. So like if we have questions pertaining to if someone's maybe getting ready to write an offer or they've just got a counter and they're wondering, right, that type of thing, like, hey guys, this is my situation. Help me out. What can I do? Right. Put some more brains together.
For sure.
All right. We're getting some more people jumping on. Woo, woo.
Cool.
Love it. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
All right. So we're going to hit the ground running, guys. So I didn't tell Ashley this, but I'm not going to use Altos, whatever you say it today, only because those that are active in the market, been writing offers, showing homes, working with buyers right now, are already very aware that what we're seeing in the reports from February is not what's currently happening in March. So as soon as the interest rates took that little dip, like I think it was the first week of March, it's like all of these buyers came out of the woodwork. And I thought, oh man, here we go. And then, they're like fair weather friends, right? The interest rate no longer has a 6 in it. So they get all excited. They come out, they get ramped up, and they create this frenzy and this competition and all this craziness. And then I'm like, as soon as the rate goes back up over 6.5%, they're going to go by the wayside. No, they didn't. They're in it to win it. They're fighting. I just talked to one of my good friends this morning at the gym that's on a different team. One of their agents was one of 33 offers. Another one was one of 41 offers, both in San Diego County and both in the $600,000 to $700,000 range. So I think this is where we're going to be sitting for, the unforeseeable future, unless the interest rates go super crazy again, and things start to slow down. When I bring up this slide to show you, not slide, but it's just a PDF from SDAR. I'm going to show you guys the numbers there go from February of 2022 till February of 2023. And it's pretty interesting and accurate. And I think those of us that were working, the last quarter of last year and even the summer of last year can attest to the fact that we did have a big drop in buyer participation as well as the pricing. So even the prices coming down weren't really getting buyers motivated, because the feedback we were all getting on the team from our clients was their attitude was, it's coming down and it's going to keep going down. And I'm sure that our ISAs can attest to this too. They're hearing it constantly from clients, is that, yeah, it's coming down and it's going to keep happening. And what they need to realize is we saw the fastest turnaround in like a 2-week period in the month of March that I have seen in a really, really long time. What that tells me too is it's very volatile and it can go the other way just as fast. So we have to be prepared to educate our clients and make sure that they're aware of this and keep our finger on the pulse. For those that are maybe newer to the business, haven't been active out there, make sure you're on these calls, the trainings, talk to other agents that you see opening escrows and ask them what their experience is and what they're coming up against. And so that you can share those stories with your clients, and you just share them like they're your stories. So I'm going to give you an example. I had a buyer, he's been looking in like the Bay Ho area, Mission Bay, that whole area. And he kind of got slow at the first quarter, and I was trying to get him back in. And then he finally saw a condo he liked, and he said, "Hey, Cherie, can I go see this on Sunday?" And it was listed for $708,000. So I said, "Sure, we can go see it on Sunday, but is there any way you can see it earlier? Because I can't even tell you, the last couple weeks, buyers come out of the woodwork. I've been, up against multiple offers. I'm getting seller multiple counter offers back. And it's been on the market for over a week now. I think we've got a good chance here if we get in to see it sooner." He's like, I can't. Okay. Open house was happening on Sunday. Seller, or the listing agent, reduced the price on Friday to $699,900. So literally $8,100 less than what they had been for the previous week. I asked for a private showing, so we got in there 30 minutes before the open house, did the showing, met the agent. My client got to meet the agent. It was great. Agent was practically begging us to write an offer. And long story short, we ended up being in a multiple offer situation. We got a multiple counter, and that condo that was listed for 708 was dropped to 699.9, is pending for $739,000. Crickets before that. The agent told me he had no showings, he had no offers. And so in a matter of 3 days, it went from no offers to multiples and way over asking. So again, that's another thing we need to be talking to our clients about is that, it's the speed to it, right? Don't wait around. And Tulane mentioned this the other day, she's seeing the same thing. If they're telling you they want to see a house in a week, it's going to be gone, and they need to know that. If they tell you, oh, okay, well, that's okay with me, I'll find something else, talk to them about our low inventory situation. So right now in Rancho Bernardo, 92130, if anybody wants to pull it up, there are a total of 32 listings total in that zip code. So that's including if it's a condo, all the way up to, there's, I think, one that highest is $16 million. So I'm not putting in number of bedrooms, price, that's every single listing in that zip code. And it's one of the highest competitive areas in San Diego County because it has great schools. And the same situation with the surrounding areas, it's starting to spread. Even, South Escondido, the prices are going nuts because it's right next to Rancho Bernardo. And then you've got, the Poway has great schools too. So that being said, what we're going to look at, my slide here is going, like I said, from February of last year to February of this year. One of the main reasons I want to show it to you guys, though, even though our market is so different and it's changed so quickly just in the last month, there's still some important things that I want you guys to be aware of when it comes to inventory. And that's where we're really, really hurting. And that's what's going to continue if this doesn't change. And I don't think it's going to change moving forward and continue to create the competition that we're seeing and multiple offers and that kind of stuff. So let me just share my screen. Let me go back here and then share my screen. And then you guys tell me if you can see that. Can you guys see that? Thumbs up. Yeah.
Yep, we can see it.
Cool. All right, cool. All right. So, I think my little box of you guys is going to block my view. So let me move you guys over here. Perfect. Okay. So what I found interesting was this first page here. So this is a market overview for the year, and this is put out by SDAR. So it's local. It's for our county. It's by the San Diego Association of Realtors. If you look at these numbers, if you look here at new listings in 2022 versus February of 2022 versus February of 2023, take a look at that. Almost 2,000 new listings a year ago, only 1,174 this February. Okay, so that's a 41.1% difference. Huge, 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 huge. And we were hurting for inventory last year. We're still not where we need to be. Normal market inventory is like 5 to 6 months. We're at like a month and a half to 2 months of inventory. So we're nowhere near a normalized market. So we're going to be dealing with this for the foreseeable future. And then if you look at the year to date, 3866, 2551, 34% change year to date. Okay, so this is looking at each month. This is looking at from February of 2022 to February of 2023, year to date here. So overall, a 34% change within that 1 year of decline in new listings on the market. Take a peek at the pending sales. You know, we had 1,720 last February, 1,188 in February of 2023. So again, down 30.9, and the number for the year to date is almost exactly the same. It's 27.3%. Median sale price, when you're talking about the changes that we saw in some areas, we saw decreases in pricing depending upon community. I saw 20% in some communities, 30% drop. But when you look at these numbers, the average sales price or the median sale price was 910 and then 900. And then if you look year to date, 898 and 874, not much of a change there. And then the same thing with the actual average sale price. You've got 1,211,000, okay, down 8.3 and then 4.4 for year to date. So again, this is all of San Diego County. I didn't pull numbers for Riverside, so I know some of you guys might be Riverside. Sorry about that. But, you know, I thought for today, I thought I was going to be sharing with Josh, so I didn't want to bring in too much information. But this gives us a pretty good idea of where we're at.
Cherie,
yeah.
Real quick, is this InfoSparks or HomeDex? You said SDAR, so I was trying to look to see for people who have like North County, the NSDCR. Do you know if this is, I know it's SDAR, but do you know if they're getting it from something? I saw Spark, historical Spark bars, which made me think it was InfoSparks, or do you happen to know?
I don't know where they grabbed it from. If I could go back to the website, I can probably figure out where it came from.
It's okay. It just, I know HomeDex and InfoSparks, just for the others that we have with NSDCR, they have similar graphs and things like that too. Just FYI for some of those that don't have SDAR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I just got this off their website. I'm a member of NSDCAR too. So I just got this off the SDAR website.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I didn't know we could do that without being a part of that association.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's see. What was some of the other stuff I wanted to talk about here? So, market overview. This is really interesting. So new listings. This is for attached homes. So like condos, that kind of thing. 1,140 versus 686 this year. Difference of 39.8%. Year over year, 33.6% from 22 to 23 year to date. So again, we're just not seeing, according to what the data they're providing, we're just not seeing these huge price changes that everybody seems to think we've either had or that we're going to have, and now we're getting in these multiple offer situations and going well over asking. So that's a concern, because what we don't want to do is get our clients in a position where they start to have fear and then the flight comes, they just take off. So we want to make sure that we're informed and can understand what's actually going on in the trenches and what's going on in our localized market, wherever you are, whether you're North County, South County, or if you're Riverside. I would say do some of your own digging and some of your own research specific to the areas that you are specializing in, and then also your active buyers are looking to buy in. And then right now I have 3 Rancho Bernardo buyers, yay me. And so their big whys are their kids, 2 of them, their kids are already currently in school there and they really want the schools. So I have to keep taking them back to their why. and just reminding them about the fact that, you know, why home ownership is important to them, the benefits of home ownership, and you guys know all of those things. So, and the more that you can talk about the fact that we just haven't seen the long-term downward trend that everybody's been hoping for, that is going to continue to do that. When we're looking at, we're just entering spring, and look at where things have gone already. So any questions so far, guys? Other than, I know Gary, that was a great question. No? Okay. And you can see here, if you look here, these are on detached homes. So in March of 2022, there was 2,566. In February, 1,174. So when you look at the graph, you can see the numbers. It's here in the blue and then the red, because the blue is looking at 2021, 22, 23. You can see the negative 12.1%, 6.7, 4.1 for detached, and then attached is negative 8.9, 6.9, negative 39.8. So this side of the graph, this is the detached on this side. So this is the red, or the blue, and this is the red. It gets kind of confusing because it seems like they swap them, but this is the detached blue and this is the attached red here. So same type of graph with pending sales. March 2138, February, March of 2022, February 1188, down 30.9%. So these numbers, it's going to be interesting to see how things look in another month or two, because obviously this isn't reflecting what we've been seeing in our market in the last month. These are only going through February. So I'm going to be excited to see how those change.
Just a quick comment that comes to mind as you're going through all this data is, you know, it's just so common on the news or like local, like articles or whatever, you know, is the crash coming? Is the crash coming? Oh my gosh, the sky is falling. But if you look at the data, it's so opposite of that. And I think that's why, I mean, and if I were a buyer and didn't know any better about any of this and I saw all of the articles and stuff, I would definitely be on the fence. But it's so helpful to actually see this data laid out in front of you and have it explained, like, hey, actually, we don't have enough inventory. Interest rates dropped and there were people chomping at the bit, and we're getting into, you know, I think sometimes it just takes someone showing you what's actually going on and breaking down the data to really digest and understand it. So just wanted to make a comment on that, because what the data, the real data, actual numbers that we're seeing is actually really different than what we see on the news.
Exactly. Thanks, Ashley. Yeah. And the thing that people need to understand is it's hard to say exactly what's impacting this low inventory. I mean, it could be those sellers that bought with a low rate. They're happy, they're comfortable. You know, we're going into our third year now, right, since COVID started. And there was a frenzy of people going, oh my gosh, I need more space. I need this, I need that. And we got super, super busy. And now those people are sitting with like a, 2.75 interest rate or whatever they've got, and they're comfy and they're happy. And so why are they going to sell and then now have a higher interest rate? It just doesn't make sense for them. They can take out a home equity loan and improve their house and add on to it or whatever they want to do. Right. So it just doesn't necessarily make sense for those people to become sellers. A lot of them I'm hearing about right now, because I always ask listing agents, why is your seller moving? And I'm hearing a lot of people still going out of state, job relocations, and the typical downsizing and upsizing. So, but majority of them are people that are, a lot of them I'm hearing are job changes. And there are some people choosing to move out of state too. So unless something changes there, this is not good. This problem here is not going to go away. As far as, let me go back to my new listings. This problem here is not going to go away. And that's going to continue to drive up the demand. And as we all know, supply and demand, what happens, right? We have a lower supply, we have a higher demand, and then creates frenzy and people get freaked out. And I don't know about you guys, but what I'm running into personally is that I've shown my clients everything. They've seen everything. If they liked it, we wrote on it. And unfortunately, you know, we aren't winning right now. I mean, I've had one, but it's not, it's tough. And so that's the other thing is, and I remember having this discussion with buyers a couple years ago, is that, you know what, guys, half the battle is getting your offer accepted. The other half is getting this across the finish line. We still got to negotiate repairs. And, you know, you guys have got to have your head in the game to recognize that if for some reason this doesn't go through, we're back in it again, and we're going to be going against 20 offers, and we're going to be right. So let's not forget how hard we had to work to get here. And a lot of it's going to be not just what the knowledge we have that we can share, but also where our own head is at. We have to have our head in the game, and we have to be able to stay positive no matter how hard it gets, how many offers we write, how many times we get told no, and sorry, you know, get the Dear John email. If we're not in it to win it, our clients aren't going to, because they really feed off of our energy. So anybody have any questions about this stuff? There's not a lot of us on here.
No,
I'm looking
it's-
again to see who else has popped on. Christian, don't you go away. Christian, are you still here?
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Say, Christian, I want to hear from you, because you just opened, I don't know, 1 or 2 escrows. What are you seeing in the market? Talk with us a little bit.
Yeah, I'm seeing kind of precisely what you just said. The one I just opened up, we had 4 offers to compete with. We weren't even the highest offer. We actually had someone that was 10,000 over us, but they were asking for $5,000 back of credit, and they wanted a 35-day escrow. And the seller is going through a divorce and wants to not see her ex ever again. And so
Oh.
she wanted a really quick escrow. So we gave her 18-day close, basically buying the house as is, like 5-day inspection, super, super tight, competitive timelines. So that's how we got that one. And then the one I got before that, funny enough, it was an open door property, and they were, I mean, you know how open door, they're just not very good at what they do. And they bought the house a year ago for 911,000, and we got it under contract at 800,000. It appraised at 840. So I mean, it all worked out well there. But the house before that house, it was in Santee. It was a 2-bed, 1-bath house with it was a really pretty upgraded, nice backyard, but 2-bed, 1-bath house, 725 it was listed at, and it went 60 grand over. So my client went 50 grand over and didn't get it. So it worked out for the best, because the one he got from Open Door was a 3-bed, 2-bath, and he was happy with the location and stuff. And it needs more work, but it all
What
worked
city
out
is-
for the best.
What
It's
city
in
is that one in, Christian?
San Diego proper.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So it's so yeah, I mean, but you're totally right. It's getting super, super competitive again. It's not any means a market to try to haggle and to
No.
think that you're gonna come in and get
No.
some
Those
crazy
days are
good.
gone.
Yeah, I mean,
those days are gone. And
Alright.
and we have to be delicate about how we say that to our clients, though, because we don't want them to back away or change their mind or do the whole wait thing, right? So what we don't want to do is share how, oh, you know, 3 months ago, I was able to get $10,000 in credit, 35,000 below asking, you know, we're not talking about that. We're not going to bring that up.
Are we starting to see people waiving appraisals or waiving, like I know I used to do is I would say that we're going to do a home inspection, but we're not going to do any requests for repairs. It's just for informational purposes, but we will not ask for requests for repairs. Are we starting to see that kind of stuff too?
I haven't yet. Surprisingly enough, on my 2 last weekend where I got counters back, seller multiple counters, neither one of them, we had our appraisal contingency in there. Neither one of them got countered out.
Got it.
Yeah,
nice.
and Georgia's listing too, I mean, very competitive offers, but no one removed appraisal, but a couple people did offer a gap. And one person did offer to buy the house as is, no repairs, like you said, have an inspection, but it's
It's
not.
coming.
Yeah,
It's coming. We're
Yeah.
gonna have to get a lot more aggressive on our offer writing. Me personally, guys, I try not to do that whenever I can because I ultimately want to protect my client. So what I might do is keep the appraisal in and offer to cover a deficit up to a certain amount. I really hope we don't get to where we're having to jump through those kinds of hoops again because it's a slippery slope for our buyers. We've got to keep them protected too.
Something I did, it was before I joined the team, and it was a couple that I've told the story to some people. It was very frustrating because they didn't have a lot of money, and so they really had just enough for closing costs, and they're down. So the home was listed at 425. It was a duplex out in San Marcos, and we put in an offer at 450. There were no comps supporting 450, but we went ahead and waived the appraisal, hoping that it would actually appraise it. I kind of had a feeling it would because back then things were kind of going that route. But what I did was I made sure that the appraisal would come in within 10 days, and I made the home inspection 14. So if it did come in low, we would just cancel, because of crack in a driveway or something like that. That was like, this was after 13 different offers, and it was like my last ditch effort. Like, let's just try this and see what happens. I was very nervous.
Yeah.
I wasn't, because I know that appraisers at that time were looking and going, even though they didn't have a solid comp, they knew that it would be worth that in a few months. So they were kind of adjusting. And it appraised out, but it was like, shoo, so
Yeah.
you just got to get creative and,
Yeah.
what you got to do. Andrew Westing had, I don't know if he's on here, but he contacted me on Sunday, and he was writing an offer, and the listing agent told him to have an appraisal gap.
Yeah. I think that's going to start being a given, and that's because they're going so high over. And that's what I wanted to say to everybody is be prepared and make sure your clients are prepared for the fact that our numbers, we're doing this again, where our numbers where we're ending up at on price are nowhere near the comps, right? And we don't know where appraisers' heads are going to be. And if they're even going to be willing, it's happened so fast, like I said, in like 3 flipping weeks, that I don't know if appraisers are ready for this or have wrapped their brain around it and what they're going to be doing with appraisals. I would encourage, if you are representing a buyer and a listing agent isn't going to be there to meet the appraiser, if they're open to letting you go. I do that all the time because a lot of times they just give the appraiser a 1-day code and just tell them go. They don't care, right? But it's like, hey, are you going to go meet the appraiser? No, I got that. Oh, okay. Would you mind if I go meet him? And you come and you talk to him and you just say, what's going on? What are you seeing right now? Because my team and we're seeing 20, 30 offers on some places. We're going over asking again. And I'm just wondering, how is this going to work for you when you're looking at comps? Because I'm having to have very serious conversations with my buyers, and just kind of put it out there and see where they're at. So at least you can kind of have a little bit of an idea of what they might do, but it's very important that we prepare our clients. You don't want to be making any false promises or giving them false hopes, or again, if the appraisal is able to stay in, it is another point of negotiation. But the other danger we're going to be running into, guys, with this being as competitive as it is, you're going to have aggressive buyer's agents coming in and wanting to put in backup offers, and they're going to go crazy. And then that seller in the back of their mind is going, well, I don't have to negotiate over here because the appraisal came in at this. I don't care. I've got this other buyer that wrote me 20,000 higher than you, and they're waiving appraisal. So I'm just going to cancel on you and go over here. So even though your client has their appraisal contingency in place, there's still that risk that the seller is not going to be willing to negotiate. So don't feel like, the good news is they can back out, they're going to get their money back and whatever, but this house that you have all fought so hard to get, you could lose it. So you're better off kind of keeping your clients at a more of a level-headed type of thing. Sure, it's nice to win, but if your client wins and they're not staying in it, what good is it for anyone, right? If it just falls out of escrow.
I would be prepared too for listing agents going back to never answering their texts, their phones, you put an offer in and never hearing back, and you find out the only way you know you didn't get it was
Good
it's
point, Gary.
pending.
Yep.
And all that stuff that's so frustrating. It
Yes.
happens. And so just be a little bit prepared for that and prepare your buyers to like, let's put this offer in, but let's keep looking. Let's keep don't sit and wait for
Exactly.
that one home because it's just could happen. So
Right. And I think right now too, we're going to have this mentality of, oh, we'll get a counter back and then we can, so let's not come in at our highest and there's no guarantee there either. There's some agents, there's some listing agents and sellers that just want it to be done. And oftentimes they're not necessarily going to go with the highest. My last one, we weren't the highest, he said, that they were the most qualified. They were putting the most money down, which really helped. And they came in really, really strong from the beginning. And he said that the sellers had a lot of respect for that. And I wasn't calling going every dang day and going, hey, where are the offers at? We wrote our offer on Sunday afternoon and presented. We didn't wait till Monday morning to find out where all the rest were at. Listing agents, they ate it. You know what I mean? So do your research, your clients, what they're willing and able to do, and just do it.
And a little bit in their defense too, because I had a Fallbrook listing where it was just crazy, and I actually did text and get back to like everybody, but it was very hard to do. But I wasn't this like Tulane or you guys that like did a bunch of different deals. This was like the one listing I had, so I had the time, but it took a lot of time to do it.
It does take a lot.
So the agents, they're not probably even trying to be rude. It's just like they just can't do it. Like I know there's ways you can do it and send a group email or what, blind carbon copy to everybody that didn't get it or whatever, but don't necessarily expect that because it just, they're just trying to get the deal and get escrow open and working on that versus worrying about people who put offers in and getting back to them,
Yes, very much so. And the other thing I want to tell you guys, and I share this as a strength for my buyer, when I write my cover letter email to the listing agent with my client's offer, I always make sure my clients have gone back to their lender, preferably the night we're writing the offer or very first thing the morning we're submitting the offer. And I make sure they get their updated numbers. Okay. Their updated loan estimate, which is really, really important because some of these deals fall apart because the buyer's having issues and they weren't aware of where the current rate was. And so now all of a sudden they have an issue either with qualifying or they're just not comfortable with it. They're like, oh, I don't like that payment. That's $300 a month higher than what you originally had told me. And they back out. So in this market, I would strongly suggest that everybody make sure their buyers are going back and getting updated, very recent numbers with their lender so that they're prepared. Super, super important. Like I said, school them on the fact that you're going to do comps for them, right? Because you want to be doing your job and it helps them feel like you're doing something for them. So go ahead and do a CMA, do those comps, but also prepare them for the fact that what we're seeing is things are going well above that. And we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what other buyers are going to feel the house is worth and where it's going to go. But for instance, my going back to the condo, the 708 condo, there was a comp in there that had a half bathroom bigger. So this is 1.5 bath. The other one had a 2 bath and it was like 100 square feet larger. And it had the current updates, right? Fully gutted kitchen. The one my client was writing on was a kitchen that was done probably, 10 years ago. And it had like brown cabinets and it did have granite and it was updated though. But a fully recently updated condo in there sold for $915,000 in February. So I told him, he's like, I don't want to pay over 710. And I said, well, it's literally comped out and worth more than that. I'm just telling you, it'll appraise for way more than that, but he didn't want to do it. So really we could have had it if he was willing to do what it took, because I know it was going to appraise for way more than that. Why did it sit? And I think that's what was sticking in his craw. He was like, why did it take so long for people nobody wanted it at 708. And then everybody, and I said, you know what? It's a mental thing for people, I think. And also you've got people searching up to 700. So if they weren't looking or their agent wasn't looking for them over the 700, it wasn't even on their radar until it went below 7. So yeah, so those are some important things, guys. I want to hear some more from some other people out there. What are you guys experiencing? Any advice, helpful tips for the rest of the team?
So
Can I
Cherie,
ask a
this
quick
is,
question?
oh, go ahead.
Cherie, could you show us how you got to that SDAR, statistics?
Yeah, it's just, it's
It
on
was
the,
super helpful.
it's on their website.
Mhm.
So if you just go to their website, it's a shareable thing and it's available for everybody. You can even Google it. I think it's SDAR market stats, and then you'll see it. And I can send, Ashley already has this. If you guys want it, she can send it out or put it in the Slack channel or something.
And they do it monthly, right? They post the new one monthly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I am on their web. Yeah, that would be helpful because I don't, I'm on their website, but I don't see where I see the fast stats, but that's per zip code.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, Ashley.
Okay. I think Ashley
and
just put it in
Cherie.
there. Thank you, Ashley. Perfect.
So Cherie, this is Mo. I
Mo.
helped another agent do an open house in San Marcos last week. And the townhome was listed at 850 and about 4 or 5 agents put an offer for 875. And they were all pretty much cash offers and it went for 910 in San Marcos in 4 days. So I don't know if the agents prepared their clients, but the best and highest offer was the one that was accepted.
Okay. Were you representing anybody on that? Did you get to write an offer? Mo?
No, they had
Okay.
their own agents, but I was helping another listing agent in San Marcos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't even, oh my gosh. And I mean, and I had my townhome in Escondido that we went on right after the first of the year, like January 6th. And it took us almost 30 days to get that thing into escrow. And I mean, it was a battle and a fight. And it's like, we probably would have been better off waiting, letting it sit. He could have paid the HOA dues for a couple more months and he didn't have a mortgage payment. Who knew? I honestly, in my mind, while I knew it was never gonna, not never, I should say never, that we weren't gonna have these huge drops that everybody was waiting for in this first quarter, I certainly didn't expect what I'm seeing right now. It's mind blowing because it made more sense before because you could kind of tag the low interest rate for it over and over again. You could go, yeah, it's affordable for them because they've got a 2.5 or a 3% interest rate. So they can go crazy on price. How are these people doing this? Now you mentioned cash and that could be it too, guys. That could be it too, right? So we might have had these people that have just been waiting for the interest rates to go up to kind of push away some of the other buyers and they've got cash and their hope is that they don't have to pay a lot more, but they are. So yeah, I mean, I'll have to go back and look. One thing I didn't do, and I think Gary loves stats and stuff. Maybe he can look into it. I'm not a huge stat person, but what I'm wondering is where we're at now. Say like with that, take that condo, Mo, that you spoke of, at 850, where would that condo have sold last, say, October compared to now, right? And then see where that increase is going. It's like, are we back to where we were? Are some of these properties that are prime and clean and ready to go going to recover over and above and beyond and back to kind of where we were before the drop? That's an interesting thing that we can also take a look at. I was pulling comps for a client and recently, and I ended up going back and looking at sold from last August. And I told him, I said the market was going down at that point, but not a lot. But this is probably a more accurate idea of where this home is going to go and where it's more than likely going to appraise right now, based on where I was seeing them selling in October, November, December, where they were even lower than that. We know it's going to go higher. How much higher? And so I said, here's one from August, an exact model. And I sent it to him and that got him on board. He felt more comfortable knowing, okay, well, it was there and it's just a matter of time. It's going to be there again.
It's so hard to predict, you know,
Yeah.
especially lately. Ever since 2019, it seems like even just before COVID, just things were just all over the place. I remember for the longest time, I would tell people like, oh, these rates are just, they're artificially low. I'd be more worried about the rates going up than homes going up. Like these are low and they're going to change quick. And then I stopped saying it after a year or two, because they just stayed so low for so long that I was just like, I don't know what's going on. And then COVID hit and thought our jobs were over. We couldn't even show homes or do open houses. And then 2 weeks later, it gets crazy again. And then it was a frenzy. And I don't know.
Yeah, that's
really,
why I wish Josh could have been with us. I know he was going to talk about the California Dream Plan, but really more than that, I want to hear, because he is such a geek about everything that's going on in the markets overall, stock markets and bonds and all that, lender geek stuff. And I just really want to hear from him, like, was anybody projecting this, and what are they thinking's coming? Because I didn't expect this, not with interest rates. People are getting between 6.3% and 6.8% rates right now on 30 years, conventionals. I'm going, how are they doing that with the prices?
I know one thing that I did, if you ever have clients that are like wanting to lowball, I don't know, maybe they especially you get new ones just coming in the market and they don't realize what's going on, you try to educate them. But I had this one couple, this was a couple of years ago, where they just, no matter what, they wanted to go low. And it didn't matter what the price is. It just they just had that mindset of, I want to go low. I want to go low. And so I ended up pulling a bunch of comps in the MLS, and just to show them proof, like, look, here's what they were listed at, here's what they sold for, so you could see the difference. And I marked like on a spreadsheet exactly like plus or minus, and there was some that went actually lower, but most of them were above the list price, so that they could kind of see for themselves that most of these offers getting accepted were going above list. So to try to get it out of their mind, they end up buying in Florida. It didn't work, but anyway, it was definitely a frustration, because they don't oftentimes trust us. And this was a referral from some great clients that I've had in the past that they trusted me. I showed them a few homes, everything went smooth, and so they've referred a few people to me. In this particular couple, the girl worked with this guy, and so I felt like there was some built-in trust, but not really. Like, I just felt like the whole time they just were questioning. They had an uncle that was an HVAC person that told them all about the crash that was coming and all this stuff, and I'm not that's not a made up thing. It was just, that was true. And I was just like, and they like, well, tell me the truth. What do you think's going to happen? Or what would you do now if this was going to happen?
Don't jump on that grenade.
Yeah. So it's just hard. Yeah, it's hard sometimes.
No. But you know what? If you give them hard data, what do you say? I always say it wrong. Is it data?
Data. That's what I say. Some people say tomato, data.
Give them hard data, let them make the decision, right? So you're sending, like, I sent them a comp from August, and it's like, yeah, that was from August. There's no guarantees of where things are going to go or what's going to happen, but at least you have an idea of when things had been up and were starting to come down. That's where it hit. So, but Sherry, I'm curious, what are you seeing out there in Riverside County? Yeah.
I'm not really in Riverside.
Oh, I thought you are. Where are you?
I live in Poway.
Oh, you're in Poway.
Yeah.
I
only had a couple of clients up there.
Okay.
I have one left in Temecula. I mean, the one that I just kind of got rid of, we separated. She very much had the mindset that she was trying to lowball offers. They were not going to get into bidding wars. But it was an unusual situation because she was a real estate agent also.
Oh.
It was just weird. I have another couple who's, looking to get into a home in Temecula. But they're in Japan. So I do a lot of virtual stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting.
I think surprising for them because they're from the East Coast, they're military, now they're in Japan. And now they thought they were just going to buy a home and get into the school system. So I've been educating them on, hey, no, that's not how it works in California. Here's what you have to do. Which actually, I don't know if anyone knows this answer. If you have moving orders, but you haven't bought a home yet, does that help you get into a school system here in California? Like, does that qualify?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I did it, we took a special trip. We flew out here to the school to say, here's a copy of, our child's paperwork. And that alone cost like $3,000 just to do that. It was crazy, even though we had already bought the house. So
Oh,
I didn't know for
goodness.
military if there was any exceptions to that rule.
Yeah. Wow,
I
that's
can add, when my sister was moving back from Japan, her real estate agent went, this was in Colorado, so it might be different, but her agent went and signed the kids up for school.
Oh,
for
wow.
her. Mhm.
Yeah,
So
there
I know
might
here
be
in
some kind
California,
of
you actually
paperwork.
have to show like their birth certificates and everything else in person.
Going.
Yeah, I know people like get in line here and they, sleep on the sidewalks to get into the schools. At least they do that in Poway.
Yeah.
It's so crazy strict. You have
Yeah.
to show like 2 bills, you have to show proof that you own the home, you have to show birth certificates, you have to show it. It's crazy.
But the couple that I was working with who, who they're not looking anymore, there were so many homes for sale up in that area compared to San Diego. And they would just look, 10 homes a day, 10 homes a day, put in an offer, but were very reluctant to go above asking. And they
Mhm.
couldn't get a house. And they got outbid every time. The last time they got outbid was actually not because of the price. It was because the winning bid offered a 2-month free rent back.
Oh,
And they couldn't, my buyers couldn't do that. They couldn't rent the house they were in and pay a new mortgage.
yeah.
And they got discouraged.
Yeah, that's hard because,
Yeah.
South Riverside County can be a whole different thing than San Diego. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So. Well, guys, that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions or any other input or anything you're experiencing? How's everything in ISA land, Christian?
Oh yeah, it's just how you mentioned, a lot of people have been waiting for the crash and but all we can do is educate them on, what the market is right now. So as you're saying, it's really good that, we're able to be in this meeting and have these kinds of meetings because it kind of helps us guide the customer. That way, when we get the customer to you guys, then they're kind of already set and we have planted the seed, so.
Right. That's very helpful for us is if they have a little bit more of a understanding of what's going on in our local market and a realistic expectation. So that's really, how about you, Claire and Rona? How's it going for you guys out there in ISA land?
Yeah, for me, I continue literally asking them to tell me what's happening or how's everything's going. And if I get a hold of them, I make sure to get hold of those assigned leads from Jen to make sure that I'll be able to update the lead or give some update about the lead. That's what I'm
So
that's
learn
what
a
I'm
little
doing.
more information about what they're looking for. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. The more you can get out of them for us, the better. So that when we have that first conversation, we're not kind of shooting in the dark. So that's great. We really appreciate that, Rona. How
Sure
about you,
will.
Claire? Are you there, Claire? She signed on, but maybe she stepped away.
I
But
would like to have
because-
them define crash. What does a crash mean to you guys? Because
Right.
definitely I lived through the crash. That was a crash. When I
Mhm.
hear crash, it kind of like I roll my eyes going like, we're not going to have anything like we had in 2008 and 9, whatever, I don't see anything like that happening, but what do people mean by crash? Like they think home prices are going to just plummet?
Yeah.
Not with low inventory, we're going to have low inventory for a long time. I'm hearing 5 years at least. What I heard, and I know I mentioned this before, don't know where I got the info from, but builders stopped building when the actual crash happened. They stopped building for several years. That was the
They
first
sure
time in
did.
50 years they stopped building new homes. So now they're playing some catch up. And then with the market doing this and going down, whatever, they may be holding off too. I don't
And
know. I can't say for
They
new homes.
already weren't building enough before that to keep up with the future demand too, Gary, on top of it. So if you guys ever want to get geeky on that, just Google search new home, new construction shortage, there's a whole history that you can read, and it shows you the number of homes that should have been being built per year in order to keep up with the demand, right? To keep up with our millennials. That's part of the problem. Is my husband was saying, and I didn't realize this, maybe you guys know, but he was telling me that the millennials are as big of a generation as the baby boomers. I don't know if that's true. Is that true? Have you guys heard that? Like as big or close to, something like that? Don't quote me. I could be wrong. That's what he was saying. If that's true, no wonder we're in the situation we're in. That's a lot of people that are now at an age where they're ready to make their first home purchase.
Mhm.
And I don't know about everyone else, but that I'm getting a lot of first time home buyers, a lot. They're not all really young too. Some people have been renting for years and just now finally pulling the trigger, but
Yes, Cherie. In 2020, Pew Research said millennials overtake baby boomers as America's largest generation.
there you have it. Thank you, Christian.
Wow.
And
Those-
the ones that I've gotten, they've started looking at condos and they're like, you know what, we should just buy a single family home, and there just are none. And I
Yeah.
feel like the condos and the townhomes that have gone up are so much smaller or super skinny and super tall. They're
Yeah,
like,
they
oh,
don't
I
have
can't,
any
my parents
outdoor
can't do
space.
this force, set the stairs in.
And I think that's the biggest problem for millennials, especially that are trying to buy in San Diego County, is they look at what their parents had, what their parents' first home may have been like. Maybe they grew up in that home and they're like, why can't I have a place like that? You're telling me all I can get is a townhome or a condo with a little balcony. And yeah, I've got one right now. She's adorable. She's a 29-year-old nurse, but she has an Australian Shepherd and she needs some kind of a yard because she chose to put the cart before the horse or whatever. She got her dog, but not her house. And so she might end up with her dog looking really cute on a balcony out at people as they walk by. Because I don't know if she's going to get a single family. So, but I keep talking to her about, just get your foot in the door, just get the home ownership going. And then, maybe 3 to 5 years from now, you can upgrade. She's not married. She doesn't have kids yet. So she's still in a really good position there. And there's
You can
dog.
leverage that condo or,
Yeah.
Airbnb it or rent it out or whatever, Yeah. Later.
Exactly. And that's what she was talking about too. She's like, I'd like to hang on to it and then buy something else too. She may not even want to sell it. So, well, I think this has been good, guys. And,
very good.
just
Good job.
share that information with your clients and get out there and talk to people and learn stuff. Never stop learning.
Thanks so much, Sri.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you're
Sheree.
welcome. Thank you for all the input, Gary.
Thanks,
Thanks
Sheree.
for everybody
Thank you.
participating.
Thank you,
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.